And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website, get the app. The app will get you delivery right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness, some chicken tendies, some fried chicken, some fries, coleslaw, you name it, they've got it. The Galactic goodness, it is out of this world. Keegan! Hey, buddy!
Hello!
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Aaron is having a family weekend for Christmas in Indianapolis, so he is en route. That means you're probably going to see a bunch of the Keegs this weekend, as we always do the nightcaps. We'll probably take tomorrow night off, unless you're bored and you just want to do a show. I mean,
I'm going to Kings Island, but I should be able to if you want to.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. How you're going to be a kid? Like she performs late, right? Like.
I think her last show, I think I usually leave there at about 9:30.
Yeah, it's Friday. I'll probably be a few Cincy lights deep by the time you get home.
Okay.
Look, there's not a game until late on Saturday. Like, I don't get many nights where I can just sign off.
Relax.
So maybe tomorrow night I'll sign off, but we'll see how it goes. So we do have a lot to get to. We will start. You were, as almost always, as usual, always, at the coach show tonight. They snuck one in on you last week. It was on a different channel. It was on a different night. And when I told you there was a coach's show, you were very upset. You love the coach's show. Like, what is it about coach's shows that you love so much?
I mean, I think it's just an opportunity that a lot of people don't take advantage of for coverage and FaceTime. And it's also the fact of when I say I'm going to do something, I want to do it and not be like, hey, I'm not going to do this sometimes. So that was as angry as I've been in like the past couple months over a coach's show. So if that tells you about my dedication to this job,
it tells me you're a sick individual. That's what it tells me. But that's okay. That's why we love you. You were there tonight. Wes Miller. There wasn't a whole lot, newsworthy tonight out of the show, but he did talk about Jamal Reynolds and the decision-making process. Some of that ties into today. The NCAA said, look, if you play and then this thing gets reversed and you don't get to finish out the season, we are going to take a year of eligibility, which kind of changes the math, alters the dynamics of this decision for Cincinnati. But no surprise in Wes's answer, right?
I wouldn't say there's any surprise. What I will say from my perspective is I didn't kind of picture that being an option, because I feel like you're kind of just looking at it from a coach's perspective of what they want to do with the situation and how they want to manage their roster. But what Wes said, which it's going to come down to Jamal's decision and what he wants to do, it makes the most sense out of any scenario. And it's something I didn't really think about, because when you're in the situation of how he's been impacted in the past, what has it been, 6 months, by his options being limited to what higher powers saying he can and can't do. If Wes has a chance to put this decision solely in his hands and give him back some control over the situation, I think that's the best possible outcome. Now, could it end up that it's a kid that wants to get that adrenaline rush back of playing basketball and he wants to play the 3 games, and then it could bite him in the butt? Yes. But the fact that he has agency over that decision is a huge step for Jamal Reynolds. But it is looking like it's trending in the direction of the injunction being approved. There's no guarantees on that. But it's looking like it's going to be that he will be eligible eventually. So you never know. But
Yeah, I mean, but that's a giant gamble you're taking with a kid that could have 2 additional years instead of 3 games.
Yeah, it could cost you 31 games. Is that what it
Yeah.
usually comes out
I mean,
into?
yeah, it could be a 28 game swing
Yeah,
if you play him for these 3 games and lose him and whatever could come after that.
yeah,
So it's a difficult situation. My instinct is not to play him
yes. Me as
if
well.
you don't know for sure. Now we are seeing, coaches around the country deciding to play guys that are affected by this. Some of that I would say, like, they have 1 year to play one. Yeah. What do you have to lose at that point? Like, play the guy. UNLV played a guy last night that they hadn't had all year, and all of a sudden they knock off Creighton and get a signature win. So I don't envy anybody in this position. And the NCAA doing what they did today it's just an example of how tone deaf and ignorant this entire thing has become. Because it literally is them just like trying to cling to any semblance of like control that they have. Like, oh, we still have this level of control and we're not giving it up. No matter what, okay, you want to play, fine, play. But if by rare chance we happen to win the next round, like, we are going to strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brother.
Yeah, I think the dumb thing is it's a double-edged sword to where the NCAA could have shown grace and saying, okay, you can play these 14 days, and also shown that they are still the governing body that controls it by saying, but you won't be able to play after the ruling. Like, you're still going to be ineligible based off our 2-time transfer rules. But they just went no grace at all. Like, no, like this is a big middle finger. So I just, it stinks that, you could very easily identify the players that would have that extra year still if they were to play during these 14 days. It wouldn't be like a toothpaste out of the tube, as Wes Miller has put it.
Right.
But they just don't want to try. They don't want to make any attempt to try to care about the athletes and kind of extend an olive branch and say, hey, like, we do in some way want what's best for you. And you can prove that to them. You just want to tell them, like, no, we don't really care.
It's not surprising at all.
No,
but it is just, it's tone deaf. It's completely oblivious to the world changing around them and to the way that these things are portrayed in the court of public opinion, and they just don't care. Mm-hmm. And it blows my mind that a place that continues to sell themselves as, a champion of student athletes then continues to go out of their way to make decisions that are never in the best interest of the student athlete. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but it's literally the least surprising thing ever, which is why yesterday, when I don't remember who it was, said, tweeted out that a spokesperson from the NCAA says that they're not going to take away a year of eligibility if players play in these 14 days. And I called and checked on that, and I had multiple people around the country involved in these situations say, that's not what we're hearing. And everybody jumped on me, right? Everybody jumped on me. No, that's what was a spokesperson from the NCAA. And then later that night, Jeff Goodman is like, I'm hearing a little bit different. And all of a sudden today, Nicole Auerbach tweets out, no, if you play these 3 games, that is a full season of eligibility. Double middle fingers to anybody that might be involved.
Yesterday was not a good day for journalism. There was a lot of people.
Great.
I'm not talking about you. Don't get defensive.
No, why would I be defensive? I know I did great. I nailed it.
He's like, that's a them issue. I'm good.
Right. My name's Paul, and that's between y'all. My name's Bennett, and I ain't in it. The Bearcat Journal had this shit on lock.
There was a lot of people reporting stuff that they didn't have 100% confirmation on, and just
or
going
100% understanding. I think that was the problem.
That's the thing. Like, I went on the radio with Tony and Austin, and they said, "Hey, what's your read on this whole situation?" And the first thing I said was, "I got a sports media degree. I did not go to law school. I did not major in political science. Anything I say, it's like it's not a guarantee. Like, if you don't know,
will not be used against me in a court of law."
Yeah, on a live nightcap court case. But yeah, I think it was just everyone scrambling around trying to figure out the situation, and then the initial TRO happens, and then a lot of people jump to, okay, well, are they going to get a year of eligibility taken away if they play? If
yes,
they do play, and then the court rules the NCAA's favor, do they then vacate those wins from those players?
No.
That's not happening, which we can confirm. So yeah, it's a sticky situation, and it was a big lesson for me in terms of how to report news and report stuff, because in my story about Jamil, I initially put that they would not get a year of eligibility taken away because I saw what the front office sports woman reported, which was apparently just a bad source. Which if it's a bad source, that happens. But
who is your source that is pretending to act as a spokesperson for the NCAA?
I don't know her. I've never heard of her. She can't be that dumb to get someone pretending to be an NCAA spokesperson. But
or somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, or here's what I think probably happened, Keegan. Initially, the NCAA felt that the year of eligibility thing was included in the things that they weren't allowed to touch.
Yeah. And
then they realized they could. And their lawyers are like, no, you can still, like, that's not essentially what it comes down to, for anyone wondering. What the judge ruled is the NCAA cannot penalize if you play these players over the next 14 days. Penalties in that bylaw that was stated include taking away wins, taking away statistics, like accomplishments. Those are considered penalties. The bylaw that covers red shirts, it's not a penalty. It is a rule that in college basketball, if you play 1 second of one game, you have played a whole season. Football changed that. That used to be the same 5 years ago in football, that if you played one snap in one game, you had used up a season. Football coaches and administrators said, we want to be able to keep guys, so we want to be able to play them a couple games so that we show them that they're part of our future plans. And we want that to still count as a redshirt year. And college basketball coaches said, no, we don't want that. And it was presented from my understanding, it was brought up a couple times. Like, are you sure you don't want these guys to be able to play 6, 7, 8 games? But the difference being, in college basketball, rotations are so tight that they didn't want to have to work a guy into the rotation that they knew wasn't going to be there in January, February, March. So college basketball coaches made this decision that they don't want red shirts to be tampered with, messed with. So the red shirt rule is not a penalty. So that's why the judge can revisit on December 27th. The judge can go back and say, oh, no. If they played, you don't get to penalize them as if they played for a whole year because they played in this 14-day window.
Yeah.
Like, that can happen. I don't know that it will, but it can. I don't think it will, because like I said, it's not a penalty that if you play a game your redshirt year, like you have played a season essentially. That is how it works for everybody across the board. It's like I don't know if I've told this story here or not. I've told it to people, but back in my days when I was working in corporate America, I was working in radio a little bit more full time. We had a harassment training course. And you know what I learned in this harassment training course, Keegan?
What?
I learned that if you treat everybody the same, it's not harassment. Harassment is when you single someone out. In this case, the NCAA is singling out two-time transfers. So that makes it separate, and where a judge can come in and decide things like issuing this temporary restraining order. The eligibility thing applies to everyone. So like at my place of employment at that time, I was a pain in the ass to everybody. I wasn't harassing anyone. I was just a pain in the ass. And by corporate rule, that's okay.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
It's when you treat people different that it's a problem. Do I treat you the same as I treat everybody?
That's what I was just going to say. I've submitted some complaints to HR about Bearcat Journal, but I haven't heard anything back yet. So I don't know.
Unfortunately, our HR lady is no longer with us. The person that ran HR and compliance and the payroll, she was in charge of a lot of things. Kelsey is vying for that role, as you heard earlier today.
Yeah.
I haven't hired her into that role yet. I don't think she's ready for it. She would just fire everybody.
Yeah.
She wants to fire you. She's pointing right here next to me.
Yeah.
You're next on her wish list. She's been trying to fire Aaron for a couple weeks.
A
couple months. Aaron doesn't like Taylor Swift, so Kelsey doesn't like Aaron. So that's enough for my sidebar. But
clarify this for me.
Okay.
So Jamil doesn't play this year at all.
Yeah.
Does he then use his red shirt, didn't he?
So he used his red shirt, but he has a COVID year because he used his red shirt in 2020-21.
Okay.
So he would have, that's where, if he only had 1 year to play or 2 years to play two, it wouldn't matter. He would play the 3 games. He would still only have 1 year of eligibility remaining. As it stands, he can sit out 2023-24 and then play the next 2 seasons. He has 3 years of eligibility to play 2 seasons, but that's where it gets tricky. If he plays these 3 games and then is ruled ineligible again, then he would use up that 1 year, and then next year he would have 1 to play 1.
So sitting out this whole year does not cost him a year of eligibility.
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
In theory.
I just thought that was the whole punishment for 2-time transfers, was you had to sit out and use a year.
Yeah, but he still has the COVID year to burn.
So he technically has 3 years left.
He has 3 years of eligibility, but he can only play 2 seasons of basketball in those 3 years.
All right. I'm done asking questions. I have no idea what any of this means.
Meaning he has eligibility through the 25-26 season, but he can only play 2 of those seasons.
Okay.
So if he sits this year, it's essentially a red shirt, and then he would have 2 left to play 2.
Okay. So the COVID year just gives him more flexibility on when he wants to play.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Anything else you want to talk about? Trey Tucker, 2 touchdowns tonight, leading to probably the I have not been paying attention. Has Brandon Staley been fired yet? Did they let him come out for the second half?
The Chargers scored, so he might
Yay!
The Chargers Twitter account just said "we scored" period in all lowercase letters. It's 48-0 or 49-0 or
Yeah.
7 now.
Who gets fired first, Brandon Staley or Kenny Payne?
Brandon Staley.
I don't think he makes it to tomorrow morning.
No. I think Kenny Payne will happen about 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
Short list for that job.
For the Chargers?
Louisville. Chargers is going to be Ben Johnson.
Jerome Tang.
Chargers
with what has happened,
Jim Harbaugh.
With what has happened, yeah, if you can get that job with a franchise quarterback, you go get it.
He said he liked Herbert more than like Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, all of them. So
yeah. Kenny Payne, Jerome Tang. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes at Kansas State. The president punted on one of their best players for some stuff that didn't seem like it was all that major.
What even happened?
They won't really say. There was something that happened like on campus that wasn't like it was dumb, but it wasn't like throw a bomb on it dumb.
Okay.
And the president of the university decided that he wasn't going to be allowed to be around anymore. I just get the feeling that there's not a great vibe there behind the scenes. And Louisville is Louisville. Say what you want. Yes, they are probably the worst Power 5 basketball program in America right now. But one right hire and, you could get it right. So I would say I would go Jerome Tang. I know the Louisville people want Mick. I just don't see Mick leaving LA. He loves it out there. He loves the West Coast and the sun and being able to spend the summers at his beach house. And it just doesn't add up.
I don't get a Cincinnati boy liking Los Angeles. I really don't.
I love Los Angeles. Oh, my God. You've been to the wrong places in Los Angeles.
I went for 3 days and I'll never go back. Oh, I'll go back because I'll have to cover a game there eventually. But
I lived there for a little over a year, and it was one of the best times of my life. Of course, I also lived 6 blocks from Hermosa Pier. So, and that's one of the greatest beach towns in the world. Doesn't have any, literally, Keegan, this would blow your mind. We never locked our front door. I never locked my car door in over a year. Never had anything happen. Most of the times, my car would be parked in the driveway with the windows down and the doors unlocked, and we never had any problems. There are very few places in LA that is true. But at the time, I lived in one of them that it was. I also was dropping my friend off from work in Compton, driving my friend off after work one day in Compton, and almost got caught up in a full-scale guns drawn SWAT team raid of his neighbor's house. So I've seen some of what that whole life was about. I also, as soon as I got out of the car, could smell the garage full of drying herbal supplements in the neighbor's backyard.
Makes sense.
Either somebody forgot to do their shirt laundry. But anyway, I don't see Mick leaving LA to come back to Louisville. I know he loved Louisville. I know he really, really loved that place when he was there, but he does not like the cold at all. I do not like the cold at all. I loved LA. In fact, on Christmas Day, the Christmas that I was in LA, it was 84 degrees. We were on the beach and we had one of those little mini charcoal grills, and we were grilling steaks, hanging out on the beach on Christmas Day. And I called home and it was 14 degrees. And I was like, I'm good. This is delightful. I'm never coming back.
What would be funny is Micah Shrewsbury or Ed Coley not even lasting a year at their new jobs. Louisville coming calling.
I mean, the most Louisville thing ever to Louisville would be that they just hire Bob Huggins
or Chris Mack.
They tried that once and it didn't go so well. You don't remember Chris Mack coaching at Louisville and getting punted?
No, I know he coached at Louisville. I just don't know if, I mean,
you don't know if it's beyond their moral compass to bring him back.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Or I hear the coach at St. John's. You could probably get him.
That's definitely beyond their moral compass.
No, it's not. They get back.
Or hire his son.
The problem there is his son is not as good a coach as his dad. Like you're not getting the benefits. You're putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable if you hire Richard instead of Rick. That's my favorite thing I say to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Anything else you want to get to?
I think I'm good. Ivan Pace, Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah. He's incredible. I'm so fascinated to see what happens Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, does he light up the Bengals?
Knock him out of the playoff race.
He could. He could. If he does what he did last week, like he could almost single-handedly eliminate the Bengals from the playoff race.
Yeah.
That would be wild. All right. Well, thanks to everybody for tuning in. If we don't see you tomorrow, and I'm going to guess probably not. Are we going shopping tomorrow, kid?
Sure.
Apparently we're going Christmas shopping tomorrow. Not for her. She's not getting anything.
Yes, I am.
For other people. We got to go Christmas shopping for everybody else.
Everybody else.
But we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know. If we're going live, we'll post. If we're going to record, I'm not going to record. If we're going to do a show, we're going to do a live show and hang out for a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But either way, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks, Keegan, for filling in. This is a little longer than a normal nightcap, but we were having fun. So deal with it. We'll see you next time. He's Keegan. I'm Chad. That's the nightcap. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Right here on BearcatJournal.com.